KPMG is making a $2 billion investment in AI.
Hollywood production is being transformed by artificial intelligence.
There will be an impact on jobs.
What we call artificial intelligence is the top where we've gotten to.
Well, will it? It's not as simple as a yes or no, and honestly, we don't know the answer to that either. But we do know what is going on in the world where AI is battling against human intellectual. Now imagine a future where you go to the movies or go to different movies, yet you see the same background cast, the same people in airport in this movie as the same people in cafe in a different movie, for example. And I'm not talking about animation. These background actors will live on as an identity, as an asset. Very grim future for acting and cinema and the film industry as a whole. And this future begins at the big C.
Do you have the slightest idea how little that narrows it down?
Bear with me here, there are a lot of pieces to this puzzle. Streaming services, especially like Netflix, has been around for years now, changing the way people watch movies. From going to the cinema, to box office, to just staying at home and watch movies. This change is amplified even further with COVID-19. What do people do when they can't leave the house, talk to friends, meet at the park, or go to the movies? Yep. Put on Netflix. It is not surprising as these companies gain record-breaking numbers regarding subscription, profit, and revenue and whatnot during this time. Everyone was happy and investors were happy, but when COVID-19 leaves and people started to leave the house, watch movie less, and there are more competitors on the market, investors are still putting in the pressure for the companies to make even more money. Now, on the other side of the story, if we look past the production and the actors in the credit, there's a crucial party behind the magic of every movie ever: the writers. Fast forward to earlier this year in 2023, where the Writers Guild of America, the main powerhouse behind the amazing TVs and movies and other media, were fighting for fair wages, but more importantly, they were fighting against the uncertainty, and they were fighting for job security. See, the introduction of ChatGPT is very concerning, as now the act of writing up stories can now be essentially copied and replicated and even plagiarized at times, which is very, very crucial to these writers. So the negotiation went back and forth and unfortunately reached no agreement, which prompted the very strong and ongoing protests that we are seeing today. However, writers are not the only one affected, as actors are now joining the protest. SAG-AFTRA has also been fighting for the same rights as the writer. Now, on one side of the table, the higher-up proposed more earning, more benefit, and record-breaking wages. But on the other side of the table, we see that the proposal also included a deal. This deal entails that the production can 3D scan the body, the model of these background actors, pay them a day's worth of wage, and essentially they are now an indispensable asset. As a company owns their model, they don't need to cast more background actors anymore. So naturally, they went on strike.
We have to acknowledge you've seen them here earlier on the red carpet. Unfortunately, they're off to write their picket signs for what we believe to be an imminent strike by SAG, joining my guild, one of my guilds, the Writers Guild, in the struggle for fair wages for working members of the union.
Which leads us to this exact moment in time where protest and strike is going strong. Hollywood is going in a halt. It's stopping. Production for big blockbuster movies are stopping. This has been a very confusing story to follow, but it is also a prime example, a historical event we're going through, to see that innovation in technology needs to be accompanied by proper adaptation to make sure that everything don't just fall apart. Now, whether you wholeheartedly support the actors and the writers and down with the production house and whatever, or you advocate for inevitable change as technology progresses, it's important to take a step back and see the big picture as a whole. Speaking of taking a step back, let's take a look at other big announcements that were made during last week. As we have seen in the last episode, Mark Zuckerberg introduces Threads to compete with Twitter. This week, we see Elon Musk introducing a new AI company to rival OpenAI's ChatGPT, the name XAI. The introduction of the company is made via a Twitter space that Elon and his co-founder hosted and they introduced themselves as well as the goals and the vision of the company, but here are the TLDRs that you need to know regarding XAI. Technology-wise, this is the most ambitious project ever. If AI is already an amazing feat in itself, then AGI is the equivalent of the moon landing. The key difference is that AGI can actually be creative, solve new problems it has never seen before, and it is as close to a human consciousness as something artificial can be. If not, it already is, and it's sentient and aware. This is ambitious, as AGI, or essentially Iron Man's Jarvis or Friday, is so fictional even with current development in the AI industry. However, this does not discourage Elon, as he plans to take this to overcome ChatGPT and become the one and only true AI. Which takes us to the next point, which is, as headlines have introduced, this AI is created to find the truth about the universe. There are two main emphases regarding this point. First, the bot is created to find the ultimate truth. Secondly, it plans to seek the unsolved mysteries of the universe. Elon and XAI stated that they will not interfere with the process at which the bot come to a conclusion on whatever is truth, whatever that truth may be. That is only the introductory information on the company, and we'll have to wait a few more weeks before XAI release their next update. If there's one thing to say regarding the iOS 17, is that it's similar to the jump from iPhone X to the 11. A lot of the features or quality of life changes that would be nice to have if they still support the iPhone 8. That aside, let us go through some of our favorite features. Do note though that these features are the things that we think will be used the most, rather than the most technological advanced or most impressive new features, such as the ability to turn your voice into a text-to-speech or pick up the phone as the other person is leaving a voicemail. Do check out Apple's website if you want the full list on what is on this new iOS 17, but other than that, let us begin. It's official, your phone can now replace the nightstand digital clock that you have next to your bed if you have a charger that can leave your phone upright and horizontally. Similar to the widget that you have in your home screen, this standby mode hosts a lot of apps that you can customize to your liking. There's traditional clock and calendar, music display, the weather, a photo slide if you want, and apparently the ability to track food delivery. Anyway, great features for someone who usually charges their phone on their desk, and it's always nice to have an additional monitor that you can just interact and swipe and see information and see when your food will come. I feel like this feature is perfect for first encounters or first impressions, because all you have to do now with iOS 17 is that hold the phone together. The magic happens with a snap of the finger, the contacts are exchanged. Very nice for people with anxiety and worrying way too much on first impressions. Remember the additional ability to customize your lock screen in iOS 16? You can also do that in iOS 17 with your phone contact, which just adds so much spice to your life, by the way. And this feature is perfect for agent because we don't have to spend 5 seconds looking at the screen trying to figure out which Kevin is calling. And now with the contact poster, we can instantly know who is calling and pick up the phone and, interact as usual. Very nice. Chef kiss. This feature is intended for camping or for people who go to remote areas with no data or Wi-Fi. But I feel like there's so much more specific uses for this offline map. You're going on a fast car where data is sometimes flickering. Don't worry, offline map is there. You want to save your data usage even though the use of map is not that much. Offline map is there for you. Are you in a hurry and you really need to see the local map quickly without waiting for it to load? There's your offline map. Obviously, these are very minute use cases, but it is exactly those features and great quality of life changes that makes this iOS 17 so amazing. Although, I have to say, the offline map only applies to Apple Map. which will take some time to adapt to since we're also used to using Google Maps. The same goes for other features in iOS 17 as well, where you also need the other person to have the iPhone with iOS 17 equipped for everything to function properly, which I think is a fine way to drag people into the ecosystem as well as convince the existing party in the ecosystem to not migrate to Android phones, for example. And on that note, thank you for sticking around. I feel like news this week is very cliffhanger-ish. We are waiting on how AI will be resolved in the film industry. We are waiting on the new ChatGPT counterpart or competition. We are waiting for the new Samsung and Apple phone reveal event. But hey, it is the way it is. Subscribe if you haven't already. See you next week. Bye-bye.